It's no secret the best spy stories draw from real history. James Bond was inspired by the author's time in the Navy. Kingsman was inspired by the writer's friends serving in special forces. Then there's Argylle, a movie where an author's espionage books mirror actual covert missions so much that a secret agent is sent to protect them and their cat from assassins. I adore that concept, even though it's not based on real events. Right? Well, Argylle's cat is director Matthew Vaughn's family cat named Chip. Considering Vaughn's fondness for over-the-top action scenes, I wouldn't be surprised if Chip plays a bigger part than we think, especially given the crazy history behind America's attempt to create a real-life spy cat. According to Vince Houghton, author of Nuking the Moon, enlisting animals for surveillance was a serious concept in the 1960s. Back then, the CIA relied on bugs to secretly hear conversations. The problem was the bug heard everything else too. Footsteps, traffic, wind. They needed a way to tune out the environment. So they looked at biology. How do humans and animals focus on certain sounds over others? The answer starts with the cochlea, a structure found inside the ear which converts sound waves into electrical impulses that the brain perceives as sound. This also allows the brain to discern between different kinds of sound. That's why we can hear someone's voice even in loud places like a concert. Armed with that knowledge, the CIA assumed they could create an artificial cochlea.
You serious?
No matter how smart the engineers were, they couldn't replicate something so complex. But rather than quit, they changed directions. Instead of building a cochlea, why not borrow one?
How are you, you stupid cat?
Enter Acoustic Kitty. The project was simple: make a covert listening device out of a house cat. Because cats are everywhere and go anywhere they want without drawing suspicion. This leads to the first problem: inserting electronics into a living animal. See, the body is hostile to hardware. The inside is wet and hot. Natural defense systems fight against foreign objects. Plus, there's no extra space. Everything in there has a biological reason to be there. Nevertheless, a professional veterinarian performed the following surgery. They embedded a 3/4 inch audio transmitter at the base of the cat's skull, right under the scruff of the neck where another cat or human can pick it up without causing pain. Then they placed a small wire-like microphone in the ear canal, and an antenna was woven into the fur on its tail. Engineers took care of creating the least invasive spy tech because if there were any impairment in the cat's ability to move and act like itself, the project would fail. Luckily, after recovering from surgery, it completed a series of tests. Unluckily, another problem appeared. Unlike dogs, cats are notoriously hard to train. This one was no exception. It understood and followed directions up to a point. When the cat got hungry, it would abandon any objective to hunt for food. Think about how many sights, sounds, and smells exist in a city. Now imagine an expensive custom-built kitty wandering away from the mission because of a distraction. The CIA couldn't control the outside world's conditions, but they could keep their newest recruit from going rogue thanks to the MKUltra program. Infamous for mind control experiments using drugs like LSD. Part of that research involved electronic brain stimulation and efforts to control animals. Long story short,
Yeah, who says you can't train a cat?
during a second operation, the veterinarian turned off the animal's instinct to seek out food. With a freshly trained and rewired brain, Acoustic Kitty was ready for a field test. Sadly, there is no record of the test, only the outcome, so given available information, here's what probably happened. A white van pulls up to a local park. Across the street, two men conversate on a bench. Inside the van, CIA technicians set up their equipment, including Acoustic Kitty. After all the research and engineering and scientific breakthroughs, the moment of truth arrived. They released their Frankenstein feline outside and directed its attention to the men on the bench. Without hesitation, the cat made a beeline toward them. The techs were thrilled, eagerly waiting to overhear the private conversation, but they never did, because halfway across the street, Acoustic Kitty got run over by a taxi. all the CIA could do then was clean up the mess before someone saw it.
Well, it's a cat.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Even though Acoustic Kitty did die, there are those who believe other spy organizations took up the mantle and tried to create spies out of animals. But I don't know, I feel like that's pretty far-fetched.